Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. This is an outtake episode from Sports Card Second that Jacob Burris, my young friend, put together, and he had Brody the Kid on with him, so a couple of 13-and-a-half-year-olds, and John Newman and myself. So we had a good time, the four of us, talking about the past, present, and especially future of the hobby. So the young guys were a lot of fun. The hobby's in good hands if we have sharp young coming on strong with a lot of enthusiasm and a real thirst for knowledge and to try to help others to come along too. Thanks sponsors, Topps, Panini, and Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins Scott Auctions, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication. You'll notice that this is episode 620. I did not make a mistake. I've decided I like doing the recaps, but the recap episodes that heretofore have been every 20th, the divisible by 20 episode numbers, I'm moving that out to 25. I think I don't need to recap quite as often. I do get new listeners and people that subscribe because they check out a little sample and decide that they want to listen to more, and perhaps some that they've missed. Plus, it gives me a chance to go back and add or amplify or clarify if something's come up since that episode appeared. So thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Brody. Thanks, John. Again, you should go listen to Sports Card Second on your own. You can listen to this whole thing, but this is just, I pull out 10 minutes just to give you a taste of the fun that I had in doing that. The next recap episode will be number 625, and then it'll be 650, 675, 700. So I'll still do it, but I'll do it with less frequency. Thanks, everybody. John's famous for saying the hobby is the people. Well, the card companies, to some extent, are the brands, but they're also the people. My concern is that if they start from scratch, and we never did this, but a lot of companies that are aggressive when they start from scratch, they hire the best people from other companies in the industry. I wouldn't be excited about that because each of the companies you mentioned has some real strengths. Now, I don't think any of them are strong at everything, but some of them are really strong in certain areas. And that's because they have strong people in those areas. So if Fanatics went there and hired 5 or 10 people from Topps, the best people, 5 or 10 people from Panini, the best people, 5 or 10 people from Upper Deck, the best people, maybe a few from Leaf, the best people. That's a lot cheaper than buying the whole company, but that would deplete those companies, and that just doesn't seem fair to me, but it's the way a lot of people do it. So I'd rather have them just buy the company or, like you said, lease out some of the brands or the intellectual property they have rather than poaching employees. But yeah, it's a free world, and most people, if somebody says, hey, do you want to come work for me instead of where you are at double your salary, most people say, when can I start? I wouldn't like that, but that could happen. If they don't buy one of the companies, they're probably going to try to get some of the people. On the other hand, it's still about execution, and some of the brands have importance above and beyond even the people. The people are really important, though, because a lot of the people are going to come up. But Carvin Chung, he came out with some great ideas. Next thing, he's changed card companies, and then he's moved again, but he keeps coming up with creative ideas. And Upper Deck didn't go down when he left. There's 2 places where kids can go for involvement in the hobby on a personal level. One is card shops and the other shows. And at the shows, I'd like to see every show promoter provide free admission up to maybe even age 16. They may probably do it up to 12 now, but I'd say anybody that can't drive, if they're going to come to the show, they're probably going to have to get a parent to bring them anyway. So free admission. And I would like to see every card shop have a kids club like Mike Fruitman has, and Fanatics or Panini or Topps or Upper Deck, any of them, they maybe can't require it, but I think they should look favorably at any local card shop that has a kids program. I would reward that card shop because the kids need to be going to a card shop and to card shows and seeing that it's acceptable and even cool to participate in this hobby. And I'd love to see a product just for kids, but that's harder to pull off. But just let them come to the shows for free, and the card shop should get stuff from the manufacturers to provide incentives for kids to be involved. Rich Klein is always talking about, hey, Fanatics already has lids, but when's the last time you saw kids hanging out at lids and interacting with the owner, the manager, and stuff like that? It's a transactional thing, whereas a local card shop is just fun to hang out.
We have National Baseball Card Days, which I think are great. But what I'd like to see a little bit more of is see these companies maybe work with some sports or schools, Pop Warner, Little League. I know schools can be sometimes resistant to, hey, we don't want that. As most schools now give every kid a yearly planner as part of their kind of welcome package. Maybe Topps, Panini, whoever, maybe get a couple cards in there. Definitely on the sports side of things too. Pop Warner, Little League, other sport, as get some cards to those organizations, put them in those equipment packages. We got to get the hobby out there, out front. I know someone said, John, it's never been as much in front as it has right now. And that's not wrong, but a lot of the stories we're seeing, right, what are they? $1 million auctions, record-setting sales. To a 7-year-old kid, that's above his pay grade. I think we need to get on that ground level, get some cards in hands. That's what did it for me in 1979, was seeing those cards, opening that pack, pulling a Reggie Jackson, and here we are 41 years later. So I think we've got to get the hobby to the kids, however that may be.
What team do you guys think is going to win the Super Bowl and why? And I'll start it off. The Los Angeles Rams are winning the Super Bowl. They have one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time, Matthew Stafford, and he finally got a good team, so he can throw the ball. He's got Cooper Kupp literally having one of the greatest receiving seasons I've ever seen in my life. Thank goodness I'm a fantasy owner. He's got Robert Woods, Darrell Henderson, and he also has Aaron Donald on the other side of the ball to protect that lead. Aaron Donald's a freak of nature. He's one of the greatest defensive players ever. He's got Jalen Ramsey over there.
Breaking news today, he's also got Mr. Odell
Beckham Jr. Yep, that's a huge.
Everyone's also film this now.
Yeah, they're just explosive offense, and I'm seeing them take the dub.
I got the Rams to go to my Super Bowl. I picked Lamar Jackson to win MVP, and I think I've got a pretty good case for it. I mean, he's playing really good football. He played really good last week. But he's going to get out in the championship game, because I think the winner of the Super Bowl is going to be the Titans. I know Derrick Henry just got hurt. I know. But AP's back. Jerry McNichols is a great secondary back, and I think people underrate Ryan Tannehill. Him and Matthew Stafford, I think Ryan Tannehill is one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league, and he's got weapons. He's got A.J. Brown. He's got Julio Jones. Yeah, I like the Titans. I know it's crazy to think about. They lost to the Jets somehow, but here we are. Any given Sunday, man.
Yeah.
1 week the Bears can beat the Bengals, but then they lose.
Dang it.
We're not going to talk the Steelers game because that was all on the people in white and black. That was all on the officials. Bears should have won by 10, and the officials ruined it. Where a ref literally hip checks my guy and then throws a flag on him. It's like,
oh my God.
Apparently me and Brody were watching two different games at the same time.
Dr. Beckett, who do you think is going to win?
I'm pulling for the Cowboys. Sentimentally, I'd love to see the Cowboys do it. Matthew Stafford is from around here. He's a sentimental favorite as well. I saw Ryan Tannehill play in college. I don't think they're going to go all the way, Brody, but he's a good athlete. He's just smart, got a good touch and everything. But
I like interrupting people who like the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're going to interrupt themselves. They're their own worst enemy. If they could get their act together, maybe they could go a long way. We'll see.
I like interrupting people at the Steelers. Good luck finishing your pick, John. That's going to be a tough.
Well, when it comes to sports and picking, there's your heart and your head. So my heart wants the Steelers, but my head knows better to say that. I'm a realist. So unless we catch fire, it's not going to be the Steelers, as much as I'd like to will that to happen. I picked the Rams before the season started. I think Matthew Stafford's a big difference maker. We did our award-winning picks too. I picked him to win the MVP. I think he finally has some talent around him that he didn't have in Detroit. If they can avoid sort of those landmines, I think they're the team. They're my pick. We'll see. But I picked them before the year. I'm going to stick with them despite some recent struggles. Getting OBJ really doesn't sway my opinion either way. He's still the third best receiver on that team. The OBJ that a lot of people like to talk about is the one that played in the Meadowlands, and he's not the same player at this point. So I think people are hoping, himself included, to return to that, but I just don't see it. He's gotten some injuries, shortened his seasons the last 2 years, and anytime you have your dad talk for you on social media, that's not a good look. But I'm going to still go with the Rams. They just have a lot of weapons. Their defense is not playing anywhere near as good as it should. And so if that finally kicks in, watch out, because they're doing what they're doing now with not the defense that I think they can be. So I'm going Rams.
Yeah, I do disagree with you. Matthew Stafford MVP. No way in the worldwide world is he winning MVP. Like he's really doing well, but it's either going to be Lamar or Kyler Murray. Those guys are just playing out of their minds. I don't know how none of you guys either picked the Cardinals or Packers, but the Rams are just too good.
Kyler Murray is playing really good, yes, but the Cardinals will choke before they get to the Super Bowl. Kyler will have a bad game in the conference championship against the Rams, even though the Cardinals did beat them first time around. But I think he'll get a little taste of his own medicine when they play the second time. And then the Packers aren't going to make it with all this Aaron Rodgers drama. Too much drama going around. Having the Raiders is one of my secondary teams that I like a lot. They always choke. They lost the Chargers, not surprising. They lose to the Bears because of their coach getting all this stuff piled on top of them. They lose to the Giants. Now, two of their rookies from the past 3 years, they just cut. So
Exactly.
That's how the Raiders go. They always will choke.
I'm going to blame Brody for the Raiders' failures because there's a rule in the man book. You can't have a second favorite team. You got to pick one team.
Oh, that's not man book.
John Newman pulling out the bird.
Hey, listen, you're 13.
Roasting
You're 13
people.
now. If you were 12, I wouldn't pull out that card and play it.
Ooh, he's roasting people. Good grief.
The man in the house of cards.